All right, I'm just gonna do a quick Fury against Joseph Parker review. I just finished watching a fight, like just fresh from watching a fight. Really wasn't impressed with the fight. Okay, I've seen what people have been saying about the fight. A lot of people thought it was a snooze fest. Me personally, if you see my most recent video with Deontay Wilder and Joshua and Ortiz and Pulev, I spoke on this fight very briefly. Wasn't really excited for the fight. Okay, I expected Joseph Parker to win the fight. Um, Even though it was one of his first times leaving and fighting outside of New Zealand, I knew Fury was going to be tough, okay, because of his style. Fights very well on the back foot, moves a lot. I knew he was going to bring things that Joseph Parker he hasn't really dealt with professionally, all right? But the thing is, Fury didn't do anything. He didn't throw anything with real true intent, okay? Every once in a while, he would throw a power shot. But for the most part, all right, he was just flicking a jab, okay, and most of the time he wasn't even landing it. He was just flicking it, and just not really throwing anything behind it. Most of the time he was moving and protecting himself. Parker, who wasn't really landing that much neither, um, he did throw a nice mix up of combinations. A lot of his body shots landed clean. A lot of the shots up top really didn't land clean, but he was bringing the fight to Fury, okay? And Fury did a lot of holding, a lot of moving, a lot of, he was changing directions a lot. He was definitely making it very difficult for Parker, but the thing is, he wasn't throwing anything with any true intent. Every once in a while, he would throw a power shot behind his jabs, and it would land every once in a while. Okay, but outside of that, he really wasn't doing enough for me to think that he won the fight. I've seen people on social media saying that this fight was a robbery. I thought Parker clearly won the fight. Okay, and yes, it was a very boring fight. It was okay, and I expected it to be. But for Fury to go up there and weigh in and push him off and all of the hype behind this fight to go in there and fight that way, no, no, I wasn't impressed. All right, and it was a disappointing performance for him. I at least give Joseph Parker credit because he fought a tough fighter, a guy that made it very difficult for him to hit him. Okay, he made it very difficult. Parker has been fighting some tough opponents since last year. Fighting Carlos Takam and Andy Ruiz Jr., who was undefeated at that time, and now he's fought Hughie Fury, who was very difficult to keep up with. All right, but he did press the fight. He did land some decent shots in there. Okay, especially with the body shots, which I was most impressed by. Okay, and he was trying to make the fight happen. This could have gone very similar to the way Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko went. But Joseph Parker actually made the fight go down. And it was an ugly performance. Yes, he didn't land clean that much, but he still did enough to win the fight, in my opinion. Fury didn't land that much neither himself, okay? You're not going to win a fight just being on your back foot the whole time, just flicking a jab, just flicking it away, and not throwing any real power shots in there. Joshua was throwing some, not Joshua, I'm sorry. Joseph was throwing some power shots, and he was landing some. I'm landing enough for me to give the win. As far as the scorecards, I didn't really watch it and score it while watching it, but there wasn't really too many rounds in there that I thought Fury clearly won, in my opinion. Okay, um, salute to Joseph Parker. I mean, he's been having some tough fights. I still don't think that. I think when he fights a true elite heavyweight, whether it's I mean, if he had fought Fury and Klitschko, I mean, obviously they're not fighting right now. But between those two, between Joseph Parker, Ortiz, Pulev, and Wilder, I don't think he's as good as those guys. I don't. All right, but as far as all of the other fighters, he's been fighting some really good fighters. Some you can argue that they're in the top 10. Takam. You can make an argument that he was at the top 10 at one point. Andy Ruiz is maybe not top 10, but maybe top 15, top 20. Okay, and Fury is a tough fighter too. He fights very similar to Tyson. You know, it just wasn't enough for me. It just wasn't enough, and it was an easy fight for me to score for Parker. Okay, I can see why people think Fury was winning. All right, because Parker really wasn't landing that much, but he was landing enough for me to give him a win and making the fight happen. Okay, he could have easily just let Tyson Fury, I'm sorry, Hughie Fury pick him apart from the outside, but he forced the action. He forced the action. He didn't land, and I was impressed with his body shots that he did land. All right, and that's it. That's the only way I can call it. So anyway, I don't know what's gonna happen from here. We have a lot of the other top guys in the heavyweight division are already scheduled. Okay, Parker did, and he did decent. He did as best as he could with what he had here. Okay, Fury made the fight the way it was. This is why people didn't like the fight. Okay, and from what I seen on the undercard, because I did watch some of the undercard really wasn't that good neither. So, pretty shitty pay-per-view in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think, and make sure you guys hit subscribe. Peace.